On today's episode, we're going to make a birthday cake for my daughter-in-law. This is Caramel Apple Cake. You want to stick around and watch this.
We'll have some great music from the Bowers family.
And Rhonda sits down with one funny lady, Venita Caldwell. All this and more coming up on Our Mountains.
Welcome to Our Mountains, Season 2. I'm Rhonda Brashear.
I'm Dean Osborne.
And I'm Joel Brashear.
And this year we've got so many good things coming up. Joel, tell us what you've got planned.
I've got some great stories lined up. We're going to be talking to an expert on quilting in just a couple weeks. I think that's going to be a great story. We're going to talk to a Appalachian author who's got a very interesting book out that is going to be really neat to talk to. And so much more. I can't wait to share it with you guys. Dean, what are you working on?
Well, this seems to be the time of the year that we make requests for stuff we want to see on the show. I'd like to see some great bluegrass, gospel, country, maybe some blues. Kentucky School of Bluegrass Traditional Music is going to figure big in this year.
Absolutely.
That's
All
great.
right.
And I'm going to be cooking.
My favorite part.
My favorite part too. So I hope to have some shows with children and cooking with little ones. I think that's important to teach them our culture and teach them how to cook. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have some of those for you.
Well, speaking of little ones, the Bowers family are with us right now with a very special song.
Take these shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. Yeah, I'm gonna praise you. In the corners of my mind, I just can't seem to find a reason to believe that I can break free.
Well, I've been down for so long, feels like all hope is gone. But as I lift my hands, I understand that I can praise you through my circumstance.
Take these shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. Yeah, I'm gonna praise you.
Everything that could go wrong, all went wrong at one time. So much pressure fell on me, thought I was gonna lose my mind.
But I know you wanna see if I will hold on through these trials. But I need you to lift this load, 'cause I can't take it no more. Take these shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. Yeah, I'm gonna praise you. I've been through the fire and the rain, bound in every kind of way, but God has broken every chain, so let me go. Take these shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. Yeah, I'm gonna praise you. Take these shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. Yeah, I'm gonna praise you.
What great music from a talented family. When we come back, Rhonda sits down with a very funny lady, Miss Venita Caldwell, who's used her humor to get through a really tough year. Don't go away, you'll want to hear this story.
At Frontier Nursing University, our mission is to educate nurse midwives and nurse practitioners through distance education. With 75 years in Kentucky, our students and graduates have a passion for personalized care for women and families. Do you share this passion? Visit frontier.edu.
Folks, welcome back to Our Mountains. Now, Dean, Mom is in the kitchen right now, and she's working on a recipe she calls Caramel Apple Cake. What do you think about apples?
Well, that's my favorite place for the show to be, is in the kitchen.
Mine too.
Because, Dino's Diner segment could be coming up.
It's going to happen.
It's just getting the right time for it. But back to apples.
Season 6.
Well, yeah. But back to the apples, once you get past Adam and Eve and you get to the countryside of apples and all the things that country folks have figured out to do in cooking with apples, and it just puts in mind of fall and great recipes. And I know Rhonda's got one for us right now.
Let's go to Mom in the kitchen. Let's take a look.
Today is my daughter-in-law's birthday, and I'm going to make her a cake. And it's not your typical birthday cake. This is what I call an autumn apple cake. It's pretty easy. You start with a baked cake, and I used yellow today, yellow cake mix, and baked it as the box told me to. And I'm going to poke a few holes with this handle of the wooden spoon and just evenly poke the holes all through it. The cake is just a little bit warm. I took it out about 20 minutes ago. You can go ahead and cool the cake completely if you'd like, but you don't have to. And to these holes, I'm going to make a filling. Sweetened condensed milk, which makes everything good. And to that, I'm going to add spices. I'm going to add some nutmeg. And I like to use the whole nutmeg and grate it myself because it releases all of those oils in the nutmeg. Not too much, just enough to give it a little bit of flavor. I'm also going to use some cinnamon, about a teaspoon, and I'm going to use some allspice. Now this is really fragrant. This is called Jamaican allspice, and when I smell this, it makes me think of pickles. When I was growing up, my mom would make homemade pickles, and she used whole allspice. It smells just like this. But I'm going to put a little bit of that, about a 1/4 teaspoon. This is very fragrant and pretty potent. So stir that up, and then of course after I stir it, I'm going to pour it over my cake. These spices and the sweetened condensed milk, they're just going to infiltrate this cake and make it so much more moist than it already is. Plus give those spices that make me think of autumn. Just spread it on and watch it go down in those holes. 1 can of Eagle brand or sweetened condensed milk will do the whole cake. All right, and then after I finish that, the next step is the apples. So I have a can of apple pie filling, and since the apples are pretty large, I'm going to just chop them up right in the can. How easy is that? Just get a long, slender, sharp knife and chop those apples just a little bit more. Then I'm going to gently layer that over the cake. Doesn't that look good already? This is a very sweet cake. Believe me, it's very, very sweet. 1 can of the pie filling, again, will do this whole cake. I'm sure you could use other pie fillings, blueberry, cherry, strawberry, but to me this apple, just this time of year in the fall, it's what we need. Just evenly spread those apples over. Now the last step in this cake is to do the icing. If you can find it in the grocery store, you can buy a can of the caramel icing. But since I didn't find that, I'm going to make my own today. I have buttercream and I have some Hershey's very thick caramel sauce. To make it easy, I'm going to put it in the microwave for just a few seconds. Okay, about 20 seconds in the microwave and it just pours. See how that's so soft? I used buttercream today, and to that I'm going to put in, ½ cup of the caramel sauce. See where I'm going with this caramel apple thing? Stir that up. Oh, it smells good. It smells just like a caramel apple. And I'm not going to stir it up completely. I like it to be just a little bit marbly looking. So now I'm going to pour that on. And chill this cake. I think it would be excellent right now while it's still just a little bit warm, but if you chill it, the icing will go back to its normal consistency and it will hold together much better. So I hope Tracie likes this cake. It's her birthday, and I hope you enjoy it too.
What a great recipe from Rhonda's kitchen. The only thing I can think of to make a recipe like that better is to pair it with some great music. When we come back, that's just what we're going to have here on Our Mountains. Don't go away.
Passion, personalized care, and a mission to serve women and families in Kentucky. We are Frontier Nursing University. Through distance education and clinicals in your own community, become a nurse midwife and share your passion for women and family care. Visit frontier.edu.
One voice, unifying banking in Kentucky, our Commonwealth. We are the Kentucky Bankers Association. We are the KBA. The KBA is a nonprofit trade organization that has been providing legislative, compliance, education, and vendor solutions to its member institutions since 1891. The KBA's directors and staff work together with its members to make the financial services industry in Kentucky a more effective and successful place to work. The mission of the KBA is to provide effective advocacy for banks in Kentucky and on a national level. We strive to serve as a reliable and responsive source of information and education about areas of interest to the Kentucky banker. The strength of the Kentucky Bankers Association is bankers unifying as an industry to speak as one voice. With one voice, we are a Commonwealth.
Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train.
This song goes out to all the grandpas out there. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels like this world's gone crazy. And Grandpa, take me back to yesterday, when the line between right and wrong didn't seem so hazy. Did lovers really fall in love to stay, stand beside each other come what may? Is promise really something people kept, not just something they would say? Really bow their heads to pray? Daddies really never go away? Oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Grandpa, everything is changing fast. We call it progress.
but I just don't know. And Grandpa, let's wander back into the past and paint me a picture of long ago. Did lovers really fall in love to stay? Stand beside each other, come what may? Was a promise really something people kept? Not just something they would say and then forget? Did families really bow their heads to pray? Daddies really never go away? Oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Whoa, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days.
Well, that was some great music there from Mom and Tracie. It was great to have my wife on the show singing for the first time. I think she and some friends are going to come back later in the season and do an Appalachian candy special for us. Now, we've got some great music lined up all season long, but we're not booked up all the way just yet. So if you have a music act or you know somebody who plays music, we'd love to hear from you. The information's there on the screen. Shoot us an email, hit us up on Facebook, or give us a phone call because we want to have your act on our mountains. Now, we're not done. There's more coming up right after this.
Passion, personalized care, and a mission to serve women and families in Kentucky. We are Frontier Nursing University. Through distance education and clinicals in your own community, become a nurse midwife and share your passion for women and family care. Visit frontier.edu.
Welcome back to Our Mountains. If you remember last season, we had a guest on our show, Venita Caldwell, one funny lady. Well, we've got her back today, and we've got some very interesting things we're going to talk about. Venita, it's so good to have you back.
It is for me a pleasure to be with you,
Yes.
starting your second season. This
Thank
is
you.
so exciting, and I'm really glad to be a part of that.
We're so happy to have
Well,
you.
I am happy. See my hair? I am happy.
Tell us about it, Venita.
I am happy to be anywhere right now. Well, last season, the day that I shot the show for you, all the time that I was doing the interview and all the time that I was telling the stories and we were taping and getting ready for this thing, I knew that at 3 o'clock I had a doctor's appointment. And I also knew that I had a lump in my breast. And I knew the kind of news I was going to get, and I did actually get that. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer last October. And it has been not a funny year, okay? Sometimes funny ladies have some really unfunny times.
Right.
And while there have been so many days during that time, because anybody who gets a diagnosis of cancer or who has a loss, my goodness, if you lose a loved one, if you lose your job, you know, there are so many things that happen in our lives that I don't want to dismiss. I don't want to trivialize. I don't want to minimize. I don't want to say to people, oh, well, you know, what you do is you just laugh your way right through that. I can assure you that on the day that the doctor came in and sat down and put his hand on my hand and said, you do have breast cancer, Doug and I did not get up in the office and do the happy dance.
Right.
We did not. And there was a time early on that I had to really struggle to get out of that and to find the humor and to realize that just because this was a bad time in my life, that it did not have to become my life. And that's what I have said to people over the last few months when I have talked with them. It doesn't have to become your life. And it's hard. It's hard sometimes not to think that this has become your life. But I want to share something with you if I
Sure,
can. And
sure.
this is a journal entry that I did early on. I wrote, I want to scream. I want to wake up and have it be a bad dream. I'm nervous, distracted, determined to put everybody else at ease, while secretly scared to death that my life is about to end. And so I had to get past that in order to go on with my life and to find some humor and to find the positive side of my life.
Right.
And I hope I've done that.
Well, you certainly have your sense of humor still. I know that. I kept up with you on Facebook. I know you did
Yes.
some of your journal entries or some of the things that happened, and I would laugh out loud at some of the stories. So tell us about how humor has helped you.
When you are diagnosed with breast cancer and you are dealing with treatment, and one of the treatments for breast cancer, common treatment, is chemotherapy. Well, for me, it was chemotherapy, and the kind of chemo that I had causes you to lose your hair, obviously. And that really was probably one of the funniest things that has ever happened to me in my whole life. And people will say to breast cancer survivors and people who are going through this, they'll say, oh, it's just hair. It'll grow back. It's nothing. Let me tell you something. If you lose your hair, and you are a woman especially.
I like my hair.
Yes, you like your hair. Our hair defines us sometimes. You know, unfortunately, it doesn't define me very well, even on a good day when I had hair. But it caused so much laughter in my life that I tell people all the time, look, you know, and I wasn't one of these people who felt really confident about going out in public bald. I did not like my bald look, and I remember seeing Joan London on the picture on the front of People magazine. Right after I was diagnosed, because I was diagnosed during breast cancer month, and my Lord, you can't get away from it. I mean, you've got this diagnosis, and then everywhere you go, people are dressed in pink, and we're having all these things, and all the magazines are covering it, and it's, you can't get away from it. But she looked so beautiful, you know, all airbrushed and everything, and I didn't have anybody but, you know, my own special stylist, Doug, and we weren't prepared for that. But anyway, so I had myself fitted for a wig, and the day that I got my wig, we went early because I had chemo that day, and so I went early that morning, and it was my second chemo, so I had already begun to lose my hair. In fact, it was just about gone. I had just enough to go out in public still, and so I had gone that morning to be fitted for a wig because I knew if I was going to do it, I had to do it right. And so we went and we had that, and I went into my doctor's appointment. She said, oh, you know, and it was really nice, and they were very complimentary. Well, after chemo, it was very late that evening, and we were going to have dinner in Lexington before we started home. And we stopped at a restaurant that happened to have trees in the parking lot. Yeah, well, it's not really that funny, Rhonda. Okay. We got out of the car, and my husband parked in front of one of the aforementioned trees. So as we were walking under the branches, and this is in January, and so it's dark already, thank God it was dark, and it had been raining, so there were puddles in the parking lot as well. We were walking into the restaurant, and I dodged the tree because I turned around, I said, Doug, I said, you know what, for somebody with a wig, this could really be dangerous. And he said, well, just remember that. Well, we went in and we had dinner, and we came out, and I promise you that Doug is in front of me, and he walks directly into a limb under that stupid tree. Well, I said, well, honey, you've walked into a I walked into the limb behind him, which snatched my wig from my head and took it back into the parking lot. There I am. I said, oh my Lord, my hair. So I turn around and I run to get my hair. What do you do when you're running through a parking lot and you're retrieving your hair? I stuck it under my arm. I don't know why, but I stuck my wig under my arm and I ran to the car. And there I am, pulling my wig out from under my arm and trying to get it back on. And at that moment, I just melted. I sat there and I laughed, and Doug said, are you okay? I said, I have just lost my hair, and I've lost my other hair. And so here we are.
Well, you look wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. And I have friends who lie to me all the time and tell me that. And I know, I look in the mirror, Rhonda, I know what I look like. But anyway, I'm just so glad that I have hair now.
You do.
And we are fine. We're doing fine. And I just thank you so much
Well,
for letting me share this with you. And I hope that your season is phenomenal. And I know that it will be.
Thank you. Well, we just want to share this with you today and hope that you have enjoyed Venita, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Our Mountains is sponsored by Frontier Nursing University, Pioneers for Healthcare. The Kentucky Bankers Association, more than banks, they're your neighbors.
Well, that's our show this week, folks. Hope you enjoyed it.
It's just like riding a bike, isn't it?
And then falling off. We got back on for season 2. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
So long, everybody.
See you.
Well, folks, we sure hope you've enjoyed this episode of Our Mountains. If you'd like to make sure that great programming like this stays on the air and new episodes get produced, we're going to need your help. Please send your love gift or donation to Our Mountains, 95 Meadow Lane, Hayden, Kentucky, 41749, and make sure that the positive, uplifting songs, stories, and food that you've come to know and love from Appalachia gets to stay on the airways. Now, thank you so much for supporting our work, and keep on watching Our Mountains.